What's happening, everyone? We are back. We took what was that, 18-hour break or so. We are back this week. I have a lot of stuff scheduled, and I definitely want to have this open mic because it is one of those fun things. Sometimes we have a lot of people, sometimes we don't, but we always have a good conversation. It's always going through that. And today, I don't think it'll be any different because I got a couple gentlemen in the green room that have some fun stuff to talk about and giveaway. We have a HEX book giveaway, and we have some trivia to go along with it. Everyone loves trivia. Everyone seems to really get into that. So share the link. We don't have nearly enough people in here yet to really get this place rocking. So share the link and tag us if you know who it is in the green room, and we'll get into it. I'll go over I'll go through the chat, and then I'll go over the open mic etiquette as well. Say hi to the chat real quick. Godfather J6, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Crypto Truth, what's up, man? Good to see you as well. Yes, we are having a good day. I think I feel like I need a little bit more caffeine. I may go grab that in here in a few minutes, but doing okay. I think if we get some alpha going, that'll get me pumped as well. I think just yesterday I did like 3 streams, and I'm just recovering a little bit. But tomorrow I'm taking the day off. I will not be streaming tomorrow, so that's that. Pretty sure, maybe, but pretty sure I won't be. Oi, I can see Red Squirrel. Good to see you, Tony. Good to see you. It's been coming to the last few. Always appreciate it. Just want to go over basically it's like a Twitter space, except there's video and all the good stuff that goes along with being on YouTube and distribution side. So the rules are, if you want to come on, I just put the StreamYard link in the chat. So just scroll up if you don't see it now. And you can come on, and if we have people waiting in the green room, we'll have 4 at a time on the screen. If there's more people waiting, then we'll just rotate through. We'll like drop one person. If there's one person in the green room, we'll drop one person in that's on stage by playing a number game. And I'll basically write a number down in my doc, and everyone will pick the number. And if you pick the right number, which is the wrong number, you get to be rotated out. And you can stick people in the green room. You can stick around the green room. You can try to be rotated back in if you want. We did that before as well. But just to try to get, I just don't want to have like 8 people on screen talking at one time, because it's hard to get the conversation flowing in the right direction. So anyways, those are the rules. And then we'll have trivia. Like I said, Mark has got 3 books, I believe, to give away. And to win a book, you just have to win the trivia. So I'm thinking every 15 minutes or so, we'll do trivia. So starting in the next 7 or 8, 10 minutes or so, we'll do the first trivia question. And after we get a few more people in here, and you can guess at trivia, if you win, you contact Mark, and he'll get a book to you. And we'll do that 3 times. So it should be great. So without further ado, let's welcome to RHMax Open Mic Crypto AMA number 4, Walrus. Welcome to the stream.
What's up, guys? Appreciate you having me on. Looking forward to it.
The master of Twitter Spaces lately. You've been killing it, man.
Yeah, as you said, man, one of the advantages of doing this on YouTube is that you're not in Twitter Spaces. And Elon, I appreciate your work with Rockets. Please figure out Twitter Spaces. You're stressing me out, brother.
I think Twitter, in a lot of ways, has been going through a redesign, if not on the outside, on the inside, because there's a lot. It's way different than it was a year or so ago. So hopefully they'll improve Spaces. And I'm kind of sad it killed Clubhouse, though. I really like Clubhouse. I know a lot of people never used it, but one of my favorite people to listen to was on Clubhouse, Naval Ravikant, and he basically rocked that place for a long time. And then, funny enough, I would listen to the recordings of it on YouTube afterwards, because I wouldn't go use the app, would I? I would just go listen to the recording. So, anyways, that kind of was my introduction to the audio only, speak your hands up type of thing. And then it sounds like Twitter Spaces. It's basically removed Clubhouse from as being a competitor, but it sounds like they got more work to do, because it's a good place to get the message out, different audiences, and I think we'll continue to use it as a community. It'd be great.
Yeah, that's kind of been my message lately, is one, what I'm doing, and also as a reminder to a lot of people in the community, is I just try to go where everybody else wasn't. So we have like Famous, and a lot of those guys do a good job like keeping spaces open, but we hadn't had as many like targeted ones, and people have started to step that up recently. So I do the one a week, and I try to jump in other ones. Funding Jim, using the PulseChain media, has been doing a good job as well. So again, I try to get in where I fit in. So the Twitter Spaces have hit well. A lot of the people that we engage with really heavily, we're like more on the Telegram side, doing the technical stuff. So just at the new spot. So yeah, we'll just keep moving around, or whatever medium will work at the time.
Dude, I think it's great. Just getting a lot of important conversations happen. Again, I like the distribution side of YouTube where it's easy to search for things, and you get the video aspect, which is perk. But actually, I like audio only sometimes too. I like the fact that I don't have to get dressed up, or I can just be on the road or something like that and talk on them. But yeah, man, we're gonna keep rocking those spaces too. I've been trying to participate more. I did a security space the other day with Papa Boner and friends, and yeah, it was a great time.
Absolutely.
So, next guest in the green room coming up, Mark Wilde. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Max. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Your head is a little off camera. I don't know if you want to adjust you're bringing the light in just for your own information. Either way, we hear you great though. Yeah. No matter what.
Okay. That's good.
No
That's good.
Yeah.
Sorry, the light is just behind me, and if I switch it off, it's still dark here in Bangkok, So I'm trying to make it. Okay, let's try this. Maybe it'll be slightly better.
No, that looks great, man. Right. What time is it there, by the way?
Okay, cool. 6:42 in the morning.
Whew, okay. No wonder you're a couple minutes late. Yeah, you're probably sleeping, I imagine. That's what I usually do at 6:40 in the morning.
Usually, yes, yeah.
Well, cool. Well, you want to tell people too? I know some people in the community know you. You're the second person, at least, to write and publish a HEX book that I know of, and that's, as I mentioned, that's one of the giveaways we have today with the trivia. But yeah, you want to give people just a brief introduction to you and your book?
Sure, no worries. Yes. So, hey guys, good morning from Bangkok, Thailand, or good evening to wherever you are, or any other part of the day. For those of you who don't know me, you can call me Mark Wilde. I have been in Richard Hart's ecosystem since 2020, early 2020. And in December 2022, I published the book, which is the subject of today's giveaway on this stream. The title of the book is Second Crypto Revolution, Build Generational Wealth with Richard Hart's ecosystem. And as you can guess, it's all about Richard Hart's products, right? So it's about HEX, it's about PulseChain, it's about PulseX. There is a brief introduction to history of money and banking in the beginning. There is a chapter about crypto explained as easily as I potentially could to all the newbies, to people who don't have any crypto and that they don't know even how to start. There is a chapter about security. So once you decide to actually invest, or you already have invested, just to make sure that you do the right things with your crypto, that you store them properly, and so on and so forth. There is a brief mention about all the possibilities which the world opens for you once you make it in crypto. So I'm talking a little bit about tax optimization, second residencies, second passports, and so on. This is just a brief introduction to the subject, just to give you an idea that, you don't have to be stuck in the country of your origin unless you want to. You don't have to have one passport all your life. You can move around. You can live legally in different places. You can do all kinds of things. So basically, that's the book in a nutshell. The book is aimed for total beginners. So I would recommend it, especially to people who never heard of HEX before, or maybe who don't have a full understanding yet of what exactly it is. I would also recommend it for all of you experts out there as an onboarding tool as well. I got a lot of good feedback from people who are just saying, look, I have people asking me the same questions over and over again. I hand over your book, they read it, and they go like, oh, I finally understand what this whole crypto thing is about. And that was my goal from the very beginning, right? I wanted to do something which, you can actually give to someone who perhaps very shyly was asking about crypto or wants to get into crypto. And I wanted to do it in the right way, right? So yeah, there's some information there, of course, about the genesis of crypto and Bitcoin and Ethereum and so on. But then I steer people into the products which we all learn to love and respect throughout the last 3 years. So, my goal is like that you don't buy, or the reader doesn't buy, another Luna, or doesn't invest in another Celsius or FTX and so on. We just steer them where we believe they should be.
Yeah. We need more of that. We need more steering away from the wreckage and instead of into the wreckage that happened in 2022. That's some crazy stuff. Yeah, everyone who interested, well, play trivia and you can win a free copy. But yeah, this is the book here, and drop the link in the chat as well. So if you're interested, I wanted to, and we'll mention before, I don't know if you were here, Mark, but I was saying, excuse me, saying at the intro that we'll do maybe every 15, 20 minutes or so. Once we get a few more people in here, we'll do the first trivia question and then just keep going after that. So get some fresh people. So get your trivia brains on, people. Got some free stuff ahead. Walrus, I want to ask you too. I was looking at some of the stuff you were talking about recently, especially on spaces, and I really wanted to very curious about the stablecoin wars. And we were talking in the green room. Don't think a lot of people know about this or can reason about it, even the big players in the industry. So even saw that Binance delisted USDC, like just very interesting stuff going on. Do you want to talk about that and kind of give people an idea of what's going on with stablecoins?
For sure. So there's a couple of kind of main points that you can take away from some of the actions. There's one of the big ones is you actually have to dig very deep on the regulations to actually understand what they mean. And that's part of the stablecoin war side. And then the other is actually this jockeying for position, where we're seeing certain players trying to basically steal market share ahead of this wholesale versus retail CBDC action. So what I think most of this positioning is now is these guys are trying to, when I say these guys, I mean Paxos, Tether, Circle, are trying to get in front of other players and have a big command on this market share for essentially becoming sort of pseudo CBDCs in the meantime. So if you look at Circle's actions, Circle has actually had some kind of gross practices in the first place about having some of the custodians they have. They're consolidating almost all of that to BlackRock. So they're consolidating to BlackRock for two reasons. One, it's BlackRock. They have huge leverage literally everywhere in the world. The other is that BlackRock is actually trying to get access to the Fed reverse repo. And if you end up with access to the Fed's liabilities and balance sheet, and you have all the centralized control, we're splitting hairs on the difference of what's the difference in a CBDC, the way we think of in USDC. They'll have almost all the exact same properties. And I think that that's part of the reason that we're seeing this jockeying and trying to push each other out of different market segments. It's so that they can have a massive amount of control and sort of push in a CBDC without having to even call it that, because it won't be. It's issued by a private company. So this is their tactic on a lot of these things when it comes to every market, every industry, every world. They almost are always going to start with things that give them a lot of control and the least amount of impact on users, because they want to come in quietly and have a stranglehold on these things. So that's where you can see, again, Tether getting delisted from crypto.com, because crypto.com operates primarily in the US and Canada. You see Coinbase wanting to delist USDT, and then you see Binance doing the response and wanting to swap everything into Paxos. Everyone says BUSD, and they assume that it's issued by Binance. And again, there's some variance on who the actual players are, but BUSD is not a Binance coin. It's a Paxos coin. And that's only issued on Ethereum. The rest of the networks it's on are actually not stable coins. They're wrapped stable coins pegged to a stable coin that's then packed to assets that are held by Paxos. So you have a lot of layers of abstraction there and a very, very huge risk profile with those guys. Now, again, Paxos has never had problems. Binance has really never had problems, but now you're seeing issues with them trying to get more banking partners in the US. And I don't think that they have a problem paying bills or capital. I think this all stems from trying to control this side of the money supply. So that's where a lot of these players are moving different positions, and why this like stablecoin war is such a big deal is they're actually taking over the money supply when it comes to how the value moves in crypto. The other, when you have to dig into the regulation, you can't just read the article. You can't even just read the bills. You almost always have to go in and actually look at the appendix and some of the definitions, whether it's the president's working group, the proposals from like Emmers and Warren, or the UK's proposals, or like the OSCA of looking at token mapping. One of the problems we have is that when we say stablecoin and they say stablecoin, we both think that we mean the same thing. They don't. When we say stablecoin, we mean stablecoins, all of them, right? Like that means everything that's algorithmic, Frax, even Terra before it exploded, that means LUSD and a USDC and USDT and all these variants. That's not what they mean. They mean something very specific. And what they mean is basically central issued, backed by fiat, directly redeemable by fiat, designed to be pegged. So the model, when you actually look, is just USDC, USDT, and Paxos. So one of the things that's important about that, and what I've been trying to bring up some light on this, is one, they're focusing on this because it's the same reason for exchanges, the same reason why bridges, all of these things get attacked and controlled, because that's where the money is. Like, BlackRock doesn't come in because they think that they're going to be able to support the industry and back up crypto. Nope. They're here because that's where the money is. That's why they have $500 million they're throwing into Circle. So it's important to see that, understand those mechanics there. And then in our ecosystem, those that want to participate with liquid loans and understand how important stables are in PulseChain because of all the bridging in, and it's just been a big topic. The other part is that RAI, DAI, LUSD, and in the future USDL, all these coins that aren't issued in that same matter as USDC, USDT. One, they don't fall under that same regulatory framework, which is awesome. The other that I've been trying to bring up to a lot of people is we might have to stop calling them stable coins, not because anything about the code changes, but because if you call something, it will be regulated as such. So if you have a business that you really trust, you can't call that business a trust, because a trust is a specific thing. It's defined legally. Like, a trust means something. And we're in that same process with crypto, where they sort of kind of stole our language a little bit and didn't build the framework the same way we use it colloquially. And that stuff can make a big difference. So there'll be some really interesting things about some naming and how we need to position. And it's not splitting hairs. Like, it's what the laws actually say. So anyone that's been involved in any kind of legal process or has kept up with SEC and library or any of these, it's in the details that these things matter and how these things are interpreted. So a couple of these things, as far as the way these players are coming in around stable coins, along with directly for a lot of us participating in the ecosystem, how those regulations affect us is really, really under discussed.
Yeah. What is the problem with BlackRock? Say 5 years time, they tend to dominate a lot of stuff they get into. They get into stable coins or their flavor of it. Why is that a bad thing for the broader ecosystem? Why is it a bad thing for even our ecosystem?
I think that we would say that in general, BlackRock is everything we were trying to not be in a lot of ways. So there's pros. I mean, if someone says, "Hey, crypto's stupid," why, Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan, "Hey, they're pet rocks." Does BlackRock buy pet rocks? Is that the business that BlackRock is in? So in some ways, we can use it as an anchor, and you can refer to, hey, the BlackRocks, Vanguards, JP Morgans, they're all in the industry. Don't look at me like we're not the ones, making progress. There's a reason all your players are coming to play in our sandbox, right? So there's some validation in some ways that you can take from that. One, they obviously have as much capital as any entity ever known on the face of Earth. So they're huge. They can bring a lot of resources in. There's you a pro. The other is similar to Binance. We've had things that we trust to not fail. And again, the whole point of crypto is not trusting in some of those things. So don't hear what I'm not saying, but I'm not really worried about BlackRock going defunct. I'm not worried about them not being able to pay their bills. So if you were worried about some of the proof of reserves narrative that's going around with a lot of these things, if BlackRock's the ones holding the bag, I'm not really concerned about that. Now, again, that's still an issue, though, right? We're still having to trust. The downsides are it's BlackRock. It's BlackRock. Like, they don't come into play nice. They don't come in to support DAOs. They're not here for self-sovereignty. These aren't people who brush shoulders with Satoshi Nakamoto. They're not the original cyberpunks. Their goals have almost zero alignment with what a lot of our ethos is. So the negatives are they play for keeps. They play very zero sum. They're massive. They can drown out everyone. It's almost impossible to have those guys interact in a level playing field with any entity alive. They hold enough value to just market buy like the entire African economy. They can literally buy the continent. They just hit a button and basically buy it. Like, it's that size of holdings. It's it's in the trillions. Like, it doesn't even make sense how much value they hold, let alone the influence that extends beyond that. So you can't fight fire with them. They're massive. They envelop everything they come to. The other is that, again, this moves into sort of a pseudo CBDC where their interest, again, isn't in pushing some of this ethos and the trustlessness and the things that a lot of us hold true. They're just here for the dollar, and they will likely have no reason to not be OFAC compliant because, again, like, those people have influence on what OFAC does. So it's hard to see how they will push forward any of the ethos, but they can definitely push the price up.
Yeah, and I like you breaking down both sides of it. I think it's easy just to say BlackRock bad. It's easy just to say, well, you know, I'm here for the money, so BlackRock has money, so money plus money equals money. You know, I love how you break down both sides. I think that's a very, very good way to think about it instead of just you know, being very objective. I'm here for the first principles breaking down things. That's my favorite way of talking about it. So
I agree.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Plus, there we're gonna come back. There's actually a liquid loans question here too, but I want to start the giveaway since we have 33 people watching. We need to triple that number because we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. But everyone in the chat, we're gonna do trivia. Mark has came up. We came up with these questions that I've been doing trivia for the Watts NFTs for a while, so I've nailed down the trivia game. So here are the rules. Let's keep it sane and simple. I'm going to read a question, and whoever responds with the first correct answer in the chat will win. And today, Mark has purchased some of his own books to give away, the new HEX book, as we talked about a few minutes ago. And he will gladly get you a copy if you are a winner. And yeah, he's got it in his hand right there. Very, very nice. Not too thick. Very got a good tone to it. I like those colors. They remind me of something. So looking very good there. So
I'm gonna sneak into the chat, see if I can get them.
Yeah, sounds good. Actually, that's another rule. Sorry, people on the screen cannot play the game. Unfortunately, Walrus. Unfortunately, but you can feel free to come back next time we give away books or Watts NFT. Actually, I've given away so many Watts NFTs. I'm down to the really big ones. So you're going to want to come and win the next ones because they could be worth some money if Icosa doesn't die in a fire. You know, we're all assuming it's going to be okay. Not that it wouldn't be. That was bad joke. Anyways, question number one. Is everyone in the chat ready? 40 people now. Cool. First question to win the prize is name one model of Richard's cars. Richard Hart's cars. He's got a bunch of them. He's talked about them a lot. Name just one of the models. It's got to be an actual model. Like I've got Mark went through and listed a bunch here. So we need the name and model, please, of one of Richard's cars. First one in the chat with the correct answer wins. So let's do it, chat. It's got to be more than Lambo. It's got to be more than Lambo. It's got to be a specific model of these. Not Model T. That's a good one, though. Keep going, chat. You have unlimited guesses. Lambo. He does have a Lambo, but you gotta go further. Ooh, and you're close. J Bros is close. It's not that model of Ferrari. At least that's not on my list. I'm pretty sure it's not. He's got two Ferraris on my list.
But yeah, I don't think the F1's right. He's close, but it's not the actual model.
Yep.
Maybe he has this one too, but I'm not aware of that. So.
B-Rad's close too.
Ooh. Who's got the I think we got a winner. Let's see. G-Wagon 4x4. You know, this is such a hard one because so Luna Sea Point, Mercedes G-Wagon, and Captain Venture, Mercedes G-Class 4x4. You're both missing a little something.
I think Venture's wrong. Isn't his one of the 6-wheel things?
It's a G-Wagon, as far as my information is. But
I wonder if that G-Class 4x4. I wonder if he's talking about that 6-wheel thing he has. Doesn't he have that lifted up Mercedes thing?
That's what, Mark, is that what you found, right? It was so one of the answers, we're going to give it to one of them, is I got Mercedes G-Wagon 4x4 lifted. Is that correct, Mark?
Yeah, that's correct, right?
Walrus, do you have other information?
No. I was actually just teasing because I thought it was 6-wheel, so I was going to make the joke that it's not actually 4-wheel drive.
Oh, okay.
6-wheel drive. That was where I was going to tease him. I'm not sure. I thought he had that one in the front dual rear axle thing, But yeah, either way, they're both right. I was just teasing Captain.
On the documentary, yeah, 6x6. No, actually, so that could be another one, but I don't see that in the chat. But yeah, I don't know which. So because we got wagon here, which is technically a G wagon.
Yeah,
but we got 4x4 on this one. Mark, what do you think? You did the trivia. Which one's more correct?
Well, the second is one more correct. Also, Captain Venture topped up the message I see with the full name, actually, Mercedes G-Class 4x4 twin turbo V8. I'd go with this one, but it's your show,
Captain Venture. Okay, Captain Venture it is. Luna, C Point, stick around because you got 2 more chances to win. Good job on that. Everyone who put Model T, good job, I guess. Ferrari SF90, that is one of them. You were just not the first one. Ferrari Roma, there you go. Yep. There you go. People start winning now, but you were not first. If you're not first, you're last in this game, just like Ricky Bobby says. So Captain Venture,
Ferrari Puro Sangue there as well, and that's on order. Okay. Richard mentioned Ferrari Puro Sangue is on order, right? So not yet, but coming.
Okay. I'm writing down Captain Venture in my doc as a winner for the first question. Captain Venture, reach out to Mark. Mark, what's your Twitter or the best way to reach out to you?
I think Twitter will be the best. It's Mark Wilde 369. _369. I'm still sleeping. Sorry, guys. Right. So Mark Wilde _369. Send me a DM. For the physical copy of a book, I will need your address to send it to you. If for any reason you're not comfortable with giving me your address, I can always send you an ebook. So it's your decision. Please specify in a message which one you prefer, and I'll take it from there.
Okay, and just can you check that Mark at Mark Wilde _369? Is that correct?
Correct. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Venture, Captain Venture. Yeah, reach out to Mark on Twitter, and he'll get you sorted on your preferred format and all that. Awesome. Good job, everyone. People started winning towards the end. You were just a little bit later than Captain Venture and Luna C Point. So we will go on. The next deal I wanted to ask, let's see, got my doc here. We could do, a lot of people have been asking about liquid loans as far as I'm still not clear on the ideal way to launch. So is it post PulseChain? Say we launch PulseChain, it's going live. Is liquid loans going to launch soon, or is it going to wait to launch, or is it better to launch and then disable some of the loan stuff if there's a lot of volatility? Like we have like a volatility indicator, maybe you have some stats around that, and it's like, okay, not a good time to take a loan. We can't do it. Unavailable, something like that. How does liquid loans going to work as far as launching on PulseChain?
For sure. So just for people's comfort on some of the steps. So we obviously have our active version on the testnet now. Again, this is a little bit up in the air just because of the moving goalposts with V3 and some of the architecture. We'll be either launching privately on V2B and doing an update with some of our contracts, going through our process of launch, like internal QA reps, because you get one chance to release contracts. So we're likely going to do a private release that's really just for internal, just so people understand the amount of work that goes into making sure this stuff is just perfect. So no one has to do anything or click anything. Just know that that's the stuff we're working on. When it comes to V3, then we'll launch another public update, because you'll have to launch on the new testnet. And that's where we'll have the full DApp will be all nice and set up. We'll have our archive node for analytics. So all that kind of cool stuff that wasn't functioning on the front end because we were waiting on updates, all that stuff will be nice and clean, and everyone will get a chance to play with it. And that'll give us an extra chance to go through our QA and launch and all that kind of process. Then on mainnet. So we'll be out, 30 days is sort of like the beginning of when it could happen. We don't have a set date because it's not a time issue. It's a timing issue. So once everything's launched and live, you got the first 48 hours, absolute chaos madness. I'm sure we'll talk some ratio trading. Everyone's always interested in like how this thing's going to explode and what the big bang looks like. And then you have the bridges open, and then stuff starts to get a little more normal. But again, you're still talking a week, 2 weeks into tons of new assets, right? So not just PLS, but all these new tokens. You have PulseX, like absolute madhouse. So 30 days in will, one, allow some of that volatility to play out. It'll allow users to go in and add liquidity on top of what the AMM bot will do. And again, if anyone has any particular questions, a lot of this is just terminology. Just let me know. We can dig into any spot a little heavier. So you basically allow everything to get up and running. People get their validators. You don't have any pauses or anything around launch. Basically, the thing gets up and running the way people are used to seeing it active. And we kind of give everything a chance for unknown unknowns to be played out, because again, you can only get to release contracts one time. So all that, basically just what we don't know and then what we're sure will be crazy, all has to play out. And basically around that 30-day mark, you want to make sure that we give a chance if like a few of these players that might have APIs on the outside, that helps give us extra points of pricing for the Oracle, allow the Oracle to get up and have a few, have more people running nodes, a little more data on the Pulse itself. So you basically just want some feeling out of all those things. Once all those are ready, again, anytime after 30 days, give or take. So between 30, we've kind of said 30 to 60 is kind of our standard number. So that's still, again, nothing has really moved us off of that point. So once we release, again, it's there after that. It's not ours anymore. We just let it go. It's on the chain now. So once we actually hit the button and it's launched, it's not our code, it's y'all's code. That's it. So once it's out, it's out. It's for everyone. There's no editing, there's no pausing, there's no timing, there's no control that any of us have. The only thing that actually moves anything or is connected to anything is just the Oracle that gives the price calls. And that's why we use Teller, and why that node network needs to be up a little more sound and have as many nodes as possible. And similar to what you'll see with like the validators when it comes from like RH and the dev team, they're going to start a whole bunch because you have to bring on new ones slowly and make sure they can't cause problems and, not be registered correctly and pause the network. We'll basically have again, the Oracles, the decentralized ones, function very, very similar. So we'll have some extra education that comes out. We'll start explaining some of that stuff, here very, very shortly. We'll start up a handful to make sure that it's good, nice and robust and resilient. And then it gets more decentralized as it goes. We turn some of ours off. Everyone turns theirs on. There's more points and she's off and running. But that's the only point. All it does is just update the price of Pulse. Everything after that is decentralized. We don't control a thing. The only thing we could adjust would be the front end, but there'll be other front ends. More people will do probably even cooler front ends in the future. But once we launch, we're launched. So nothing that we do. We just hit the button and then it's its own thing.
Hashtag free liquid loans. A lot of people are excited to see that bird go. This should be good. Got a question from chat here for a question from Mark here in a second too. It looks like we got one more joining us in the green room from the chat. But Walrus, can you speak a little timing and launch of these protocols? So you talk about liquid loans. You want to talk about Power City, Internet Money, how building has benefited from the bear market?
I'm a liquid loans Maxi. I will not refer to those other no, I'm just kidding. I love those guys. So with Power City, they will, I think they're building everything now. So we'd have to be infinitely more specific with those guys. They have got a full plate over there. They're doing all kinds of cool stuff. So some of their stuff, I just don't know. You'll have to ask them. For like their front end, they're building on top of our stuff. And for their PulseX product, I'm assuming they're going to have very, very similar methodology to us. So obviously their front end, they have to wait for us to launch contracts. So some level of delay shortly after us. For PulseX, I would imagine again that they're going to do the exact same process. It's the same kind of liquidity code. So again, I would assume they would do something very similar. You'd have to ask them for particulars. For Internet Money, Don and KG are incredible. I love those guys. They don't really have the same type of like lag period with that. So from what I know, they're already out on extra chains. They're going through some of their cool beta stuff and some of the free things where they can onboard people with crypto. Again, unless they tell you something different, I don't think they have any delays as far as when they can launch on chain. Like I think they pretty much just turn on the RPC and they're ready to go. As far as the head down building, it has been massive. I think for a lot of us, one of the things in crypto that is, again, it's something that most of us don't experience as users. But for example, I like to use Uniswap. We just say Uniswap and everybody knows what we mean. Uniswap's three things. There's Uniswap Labs, which is a company that's based in New York. There's Uniswap, the code, which is on chain. And then there's Uniswap, the front end, which Uniswap holds. So all of those are different things. So when you open up the Uniswap dApp, that dApp is not the code. The code is not the company, and the company is not the dApp, right? So it's similar for a lot of us going through some of these things where it sounds like there's some commercial acumen that is really, really helpful, that takes some time to getting used to like what it takes to run a business in some ways. And also, even when this code is decentralized, we still have an investment the same way so many people are volunteerism around HEX and PulseChain yourself. I mean, you put a lot of time in to celebrating the ecosystem and giving me a platform and all kinds of stuff. You know, Mark's writing books and basically giving them away and doing all kinds of really, really cool stuff. So even when it's not our code, we just have an investment in what we're building and in the whole ecosystem and wanting these things to flourish. So we have to, in some ways, we still treat that stuff like a business where I want to go out and promote it. I want to get in front of people. I want people to use it. So having some time to really sharpen our teeth and both from each other, you know, from off each of these teams has made, at least for me particularly, has made a big difference. For people that have heard me 2 years ago, you could hear some of these things, but just so many reps and practice and hearing Papa B speak security till I could throw it up and repeat it word for word. And everyone is just sharpening their teeth. So for a lot of us, even beyond the crypto knowledge that you can hear the growth, KG did not sound like that 2 years ago. Jesse did not sound like that 2 years ago. Same thing with LV and all those guys. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're smart guys and they always have been, but everyone in this community is different now. You go in those Twitter spaces, there are people in that Twitter space you've never heard of that can speak at crypto at a higher level than most people in the ecosystem were 2 years ago. And so that growth has been huge for so many of us. So, you know, now there's so much building, people are getting interconnected. They understand the architecture below what we used as users. And some of that commercial acumen is just, it's huge, man. All those people are brilliant. I love both those teams.
Muted. I said 2 years is like a career in crypto. It's crazy. It's how much you can learn, how much you can just, you know, oil the engine, just be able to, I mean, talking to people about concepts that you may know a lot about, but you've never said it 100 times. So now you have, and now you're just like quick, you know, all over the place. So very, very cool. Like, great to see the community just building these products that have utility. And, you know, I love the derivatives too, of course, the positive price feedback loops, anything that helps the blue chips, the RH blue chips. That's what I maximally optimize towards. So we got a lot of cool stuff going on. I wanted to talk about, well, we had one gentleman in the green room, but he looks AFK at the moment. Oh, no, he's back. No, he's back. Let's bring him in. Welcome to the show, Daniel.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. So you're down in Mexico, Mexico,
yeah.
one of those?
Yeah, in Mexico. Is my audio all right?
Yeah, audio's good.
Well, just want to just jump in and say thanks for everything you guys do, and just talk about all the good things that are happening right now in crypto in general, in the Hexican community, and PulseChain. It's been wonderful. I've been a Hexican for a long time now, and I've been quite impressed. The other, like, let's say like 8 months ago, I was in Monterrey, and I saw advertising for HEX. I was like, God damn. Yeah. I was like, cool. Oh, they really are getting everywhere. Well, it was.
Oh, no.
Lost you for a sec, Daniel. It's just getting good too. Want to hear about that? Oh, there, you're back.
Yeah.
You're back. We lost you for about 10 seconds.
Yeah, right after you were talking about Monterrey. Yeah, I actually saw someone. I was down in Playa del Carmen. So yeah, the Mexican Hexicans, they're representing strong down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's and Mexico is becoming one of the leading techs in fintech in general. It's kind of related to what we do in blockchain, but it's quite nice to see a lot of people starting to get on board, and it's quite nice also seeing a lot of people leave, a lot of get rich douchebags, let's say.
Yeah. This is a get rich slow program, not a get rich quick program.
Yeah, exactly. And well, I just want to ask you guys, what kind of books do you read on technology or on finances, or I am gonna be honest. I kind of miss the days of Richard Hart talking about hardcore technology and finances, and I don't like personally. I don't like all the Gucci marketing, but to each his own, I guess. But to be honest, he doesn't realize the impact he has, good and bad. Because I kind of get the outrage marketing, but maybe you don't want to attract those kinds of people. You want to attract people that doesn't care about Gucci and Louis Vuitton and everything else. I don't know what your thoughts are on those kinds of things.
It's definitely a trade-off. I talked about this the other day too. I think he knows what he's doing. I know you're not questioning that, but I think he really has this plan of being able to reach as many people as possible. And of course, appealing to people with luxury brands that care about that kind of stuff. You're not going to the church and like signing people up and stuff like that. There's definitely going to be a lot of people that are going to be toxic, and otherwise they're coming in from those funnels of advertising and outreach marketing. But his mission is to grow his brand and grow his followers and grow the holders and stakers as much as possible. So even if we get 10 or 20 or 30% people who don't add a lot to the community, maybe we still get those 70% of those people. We filter through and we get a lot of more money, economic energy, and community energy too. I would definitely like to hear more people who've been onboarded through seeing him with product backs. I would like to see those statistics because they could be surprising or they could be spot on. But it's definitely a trade-off. I agree with you that I am nostalgic. I've been watching or following Richard for 6 years now, way before HEX. Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah. So you know what he was like before. The long hair, 8-hour live streams in the dark, just like spitting all the wisdom. I miss it too. But if that were beneficial to the mission, I think he'd be doing it. But he's trying to do whatever he can at the right moment to maximally, grow this ecosystem, grow his brand, and get that trickle down glory going or keep it going. So that's why I think he does what he does. But yeah, Mark, what do you think? Mark Walrus?
On the outreach marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I'd agree with you. I'd say, like, look, some of these things were funny. I actually liked them, and they made me laugh. And it helps to take away the pressure from the bear market, I guess, especially before we pumped to 5 cents recently and above. On the other hand, I do think it works, right? I mean, we've seen his following growing. And just like you said before, it's just like, well, look, if we reach, 100,000 new people and only 100 of them will get seriously interested and research and get into the system, that's a win already, right? And that's how we can get more people in. I think the numbers will be actually much bigger than that if we reach enough people. And all these outrageous things, which we might not like at times, do bring the attention, right? And I can give you an interesting example from the beginning of my, let's call it a writing career. When I published my first book, that was 11 years ago, maybe, or something like that. And it was a simple travel story from Thailand, where back then I spent a year, maybe a year and a half. And I thought I understand Thailand all the way. And obviously that wasn't true back then. And I wrote that book. There was, by some standards, there was a little bit of controversy in the book, right? And I remember the first feedback I got from the actual readers and reviewers who got the book was sort of 50-50. There were people who really loved it, and they were like, well, you are really, putting your face out there and telling people how it is. And the other people were like, oh yeah, you're just this typical foreigner who came there because of women and so on. And, and that's you're, abusing all these poor Thai girls and stuff like that. So yeah, it was controversial, right? It was like 50-50, And I remember I took it hard back then because it was sort of like, it was a feeling of like, oh, there is a lot of hate coming in. There's just like, mostly women, some people from, I'd say, more conservative types were kind of like just not happy with the book and spending time talking badly about it all the way, right? And guess what happened next? And then the sales started to increase. The more bad reviews I got, the more people who were talking about how bad person I am and how they hated what I wrote. the more sales there was. And I kind of, maybe it's not directly related to what we're talking here, but my point is like that not only the roses sell, right? So we do all this, Richard does all this, outrageous things, which sometimes we might be like, oh wow, why did he say that, or why did he do that? But it brings attention, and some people goes like, oh, I have to check it out. Maybe I don't like it, but I have to check it out because it's different. It's it's interesting. It's how this guy can be potentially saying these things, or how this guy can potentially be doing these things. And then they reach out, they check who Richard is, they see what he builds, and that's what we want in the end, right? And if they buy it in the end, if they are in the system, that's a win, no matter how we get there.
Sure, and I think the real metric we have to measure sometimes is not the views, is the convertible rate, and the convertible rate, and it also includes the kind of people we want. Because if we onboard 100 people with $100, we better onboard one guy with $10,000. It would be quite interesting to see those metrics. And I think if he's already doing that kind of marketing, it's up to us as part of the community. That's the beautiful thing about decentralization and blockchain, that everyone can get involved. There's not a CEO of HEX. He is obviously the lead figure of it, but he's not the CEO or anything. But we can do a lot ourselves. Let me give you one example. I think a lot of Hexicans are blindly following what Richard Hart does, and Richard Hart is a really smart guy, but he's not right all the time. Like even Bill Gates is sometimes wrong. Even Elon Musk, whatever. Pretty smart people can be wrong, and I think one thing that he's starting to change that. But one thing I in my eyes he did wrong is the Richard versus, like, bring your guts to die here. Mm-hmm. Why? Because a lot of people, let's say, I love Cardano, right? And I loved Cardano before I knew HEX, let's say, right? And I don't want my main guy of Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, being beliterated, right? Let's just join them together in the same conversation. It's a pretty common tactic in marketing. I don't know if you guys remember in the Apple days in let's say 35 years ago, the way they announced Apple was like Gandhi, Einstein, me, Apple. Mm-hmm. Because then you put them in that stratosphere. So if people already love Charles Hoskinson, let's say, let's make them, let's say, friends, not enemies. Richard Hart and Charles Hoskinson, because they both want the same thing. Obviously, they want decentralization. To each in their own way, but they are both pretty smart people, and they both know how to do a lot of things. So I think the thing, like a marketing strategy we have to do also is a bit like creating allies, not enemies in all those spaces. Of course, if another guy is an asshole, yeah, then of course, fuck him, right? I don't know if you can swear on him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries. Just on that point, I think the friends and enemies deal, I think he's definitely keeping an eye. He's aware of the people who he may talk to later. I know with Charles Hoskinson, I'm pretty sure we'll see them on stage together at some point, either in real life or on video. That's just got to happen. Like they've been too friendly. They've been too, like, you can see on Twitter, these kind of like back and forth every once in a while, this like jive, I like the cut, I like what you do, but like, maybe we'll wait a little bit, see how things shake out. And
yeah,
there's just so many, I think he's only becomes enemies with people who he sees it beneficial to crush. He sees it beneficial to try to get their followers and do the outrageous type of stuff. But I think there's a lot of people in the back pocket where he's a little friendly. He's not too hard. And hey, there's a ton of haters over the past few years. And I think it's a trade-off. I think I think he's playing this 4D chess game where he knows how to make these moves and he knows he's going to lose some people along the way, but he's just making trade-offs rather than, always trying to be the nice guy or always trying to crush people. we see that he's turned into dev outreach marketing lately. Like he went from at the HEX conference from, oh, I don't know about any of this stuff, to here are the dev updates, here are the screenshots, here are the clients syncing. Like, whoa, where'd that Richard come from? I think he thought that was beneficial to start doing it. So.
Yeah, totally.
There's a couple of quick points real quick on that note that I'm also been pretty critical. So there's a few things that make a big difference. And I've had to eat my vegetables recently with some of this. So if I speak about PulseChain and HEX and very like stuff in our community, well, most people know me in the community and they know what I'm going to talk about. So if I say something like, hey, here's a cool update on PulseChain, or here's something you guys didn't know, or whatever it is, right? A lot of engagement, looks really strong. People are going to comment because I only speak, again, on my any social media thing, I talk about one thing, right? So if I do that, I'll get engagement, but it's only so many people who care about it right now, right? Whereas if I pivot and start talking on the regulation and stable coins and chat GPT and some of these other topics, I'm not going to get the immediate that immediate result, because that's not why people are following me. So I still get a lot of feedback, but it opens up to go talk to George Gammons, to go talk at ETH Denver. There's another conference that's up in Vegas that I'll speak to. So some of these things, when those pivots come, they're changing the ceiling, even if the immediate isn't going to be positive. So some of that is about reaching that new demographic. The other is something that we call it peeling them off the ceiling, is the term we use in sales, but it's also similar, like good cop, bad cop. There's a few different ways you do this. So whenever you have both sides of these things, so one thing you can do is, I made this joke the other day, and I think the visual is really funny. If you imagine we're at like a really nice party, everyone's dressed up in tuxes and everyone's acting professional, and you're sitting there, and then all of a sudden Richard Hart in full sequence just slides in Gucci down the stairwell, jumps up, bumps into the champagne fountain, knocks it over, says, hey, guess what? I've always been right. I'm smarter than you guys. Peace. And walks out the door. Everyone is looking around. And then the next person goes, hey, guys, hang on. Let me explain to you guys what just happened. You have everyone's attention. You come in and you spike everybody. And that's the whole thing, like peel them off the ceiling. You just blast them to get through the noise with absolute audacity. And then you calm them down, bring them to reality, give them the message. So there's a variety of ways to do this. One, I think some of what you guys brought up, he kind of does this pivot. The other is that's on the rest of us. Part of the reason, and this was what I brought up earlier originally, if people looked at HEX and didn't want to participate because of some XYZ thing that RH did, how come there was no one else? How come none of the rest of us have 100,000 followers? So I think that some of those other shortcomings are because people haven't stepped up enough. And again, that's me too. I'm not throwing shade at anyone particularly, but the more the community does, the more people who step up in different roles, the more people there are for different roles. And then you don't have to have RH be everything. So if the funding gyms and the Brent Morseys and guys like myself that take in these different roles, and then new projects, and KG's doing this thing. And then we've got content creators where, hey, if you want the TradFi approach, we've got TradFi guys. If I'm crypto everything, I want to do Monero and I want to sit around in a black room and just tear stuff up, cool, we have those people. So I think part of it is the community needs to be the other foot. So RH came in and dropped the alpha. Now he's being outrageous. Some of us need to be professional. Some of us can ride the wave, and we can share that burden, I think.
Yeah, good question, Daniel. Yeah, definitely. I think that's something people struggle with because they see what he's doing. They see he's been doing for a while. They don't. Again, if you've been following him for a long time, like me, we sort of know his mission. We know what he's in it for, and we may not understand everything he does, but it's one of those things. A lot of people have just been here for 18 months, and they're just like, we're refund and blah blah blah, and their emotions get the best of them, and they start thinking the worst, and it just comes out in all these different ways. And that's one thing. Richard's spending my money at the Prada store. It's like, that's ridiculous. But
usually, right when you're sure of those things, that's probably when you should buy.
Yeah. Also, there's chainalysis, right?
Oh, that's for people who want to know the truth. That's not for most people. It's different thing.
I wanted to add one more thing, if I could. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, of course. No, No, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, just to finish out the subject as well of this outreach marketing thing, and there were people who loved it, there were people who hated it. Also within our community, there was a lot of people being very critical publicly about it. My take on that as well is like that. It doesn't really matter if you are a hexicon already, and whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, whether you support it or not. But instead of spending time writing all these tweets about how you don't like it and how it doesn't work, maybe do something different. Do something which you think will work. Like Daniel mentioned, for example, reaching out to other communities and being more friendly about it and so on. And I'm like, look, Richard is Richard. He's doing whatever he thinks is working the best. We are all in his products, and we want them to succeed. But if we spend, I'm not talking about you, Daniel, in specific, right? But basically, if you just sit there, someone sits there and just fires these tweets one after another, how I don't like it, take all this time, take all this effort, and build something, build your own channel, build your social media presence, and do something else which you agree with, which lies well with you, and which you think helps the community, helps the products, and so on. I think there was way too many before. There was way too many talks about this, and all YouTube streams, 4 hours long, pretty much bashing all these efforts. And it's like, yeah, just do it better. If you think it doesn't work, do it better. Do it some other way, whichever way you think is working. So that's my take on that as well.
Yeah, do the thing that you can uniquely do well. It's a Naval Ravikant quote as well. One of my favorite guys, Richard Hart, Naval Ravikant. Alex Ramosi, 3 of my favorite people to learn from. If anyone's interested in wealth, health, wisdom type stuff, been in that for a while. But trivia, we are up to number 2. So again, for everyone who's just joined, and we got a few more people, this is the first correct answer to the question I ask will win free swag from Mr. Mark Wilde over there. HEX book, he just
show it one more
book.
Time for people who haven't been here before. That's the book. Yeah, all right.
Beautiful book. Okay, no, beautiful book there. You can win it free. And so the first correct answer in the chat to the question I ask will win. We'll announce the winner here right afterwards. And you will just DM Mark on Twitter, and I'll post his Twitter on the screen again, so you'll know what to do. So, chat. Is everyone in the chat ready? Here we go. Question number 2. We got just one more after this. This is the second one. Your second chance at trivia if you didn't win the first one. What day or date specifically was Big Payday for HEX? The HEX Big Payday. What was the date specifically? So the month, the day, and the year, please.
While we're waiting on them, I do have a hard out about 10 minutes, so I know we can finish up trivia. But I think someone had a question. I can grab that one before I get out of here.
Oh yes. Oh man, I wanted to talk to you about. Do you have after this question? Do you have just a few minutes on ratio trading we could talk about?
Yeah, for sure. Whatever's the last question everyone thinks is most interesting. I'm happy to help. I am in service of others, man. That's all I'm here for.
No, I appreciate it. I just want to make sure we have enough time. Let me, I'll look at the answers in trivia and I'll throw that question up, and then we'll get to a quick conversation on ratio trading because I'm curious myself on that one.
Sure.
Nobody knows. Come on, people. Is my chat delayed or what? What is the date? Everyone's just looking it up. They're Googling right now. What is the date for Big Payday for HEX? It's very close to. It's not quite. It's less than 1 year from after. Or okay, I'm not gonna give you hints, but we got somebody. Here we go again. So Susan answered November 19th, but we need the year too. So the next best answer with the year is Pulse Grandpa. No grand, just Grandpa. November 19th, 2020. Sorry, Susan. I think Pulse Grandpa, he was the more complete answer, even though you were the first one. I'll give you kudos for that, though. There we go. To December 3rd. That's a good guess. That was 1 year, pretty much 1 year. December 2nd, 2020 would have been the anniversary of HEX. But Pulse Grandpa, you win, and I will let me post Mark's Twitter on here. It is Mark Wilde 369 _. So reach out to Mark, and he will make accommodations to get you the paperback or get you the ebook, whatever your preference is. So awesome. Good job, Pulse Grandpa. You are the winner. What's up, Tim Top? Good to see you. Okay, so the question for Mr. Walrus here, I think it was the one you were talking about. That's one I saw. Any discussion on the automated process of utilizing the haunted method on liquid loans by the front end on Power City? And does that add any potential security risk unknowns?
Sure, I can answer that one pretty concise. And then if we want to jump on a ratio before I get out here, we can.
Sure.
So Jay, this one's a little tricky in the language. So the answer is yes, but it's not because everything's going to fall apart or because Power City can't do everything or anything like that. So if you're adding code, you're adding risk. If you're adding any, like you just add surface, right? So anything you're doing extra is some level of risk. So what you'll have different is that's another layer of code that's separate from us, but you want that for a good reason, right? Like we want there to be compartmentalization and modularity so that this is no indictment on those guys. If something was wrong, it doesn't mean that the code breaks. So that's the whole reason for having different front ends and having these things spread out the way they are is so that if there is a problem with any of these individual things, it's in that one area. So there are some extra risks that I would pretty much just call smart contract risk. So once it's up and running, there's really not too much issue. So if you just wanted to avoid that, let it run for some length of time and then choose to engage with it, I'd have to go through and look and Jesse and LV are probably the guys to really ask on that. That's their baby. So they could give you a little clearer answer, but for the most part, there's just a few extra layers of smart contract risk. But once it's up and it's running and it runs for really almost any length of time, at that point, the only risk you have is in the strategy and execution of it itself, not really any extra risk once it's up and running. So the real clear answer is yes, but I would say it's relatively minimal. Once it's up and you see it working, you're basically just running the strategy at that point.
Good question, Jay Bruce. You brought some good ones today. Yeah, awesome.
Great answer also.
Yeah. No, of course. It's nothing. Expect nothing less than Walrus, man. It's the first time we streamed together, and yeah, I definitely hope it's not the last time because you got a wealth of knowledge, and that's what I try to do: bring the people the wealth of knowledge that I can through me or through other people. So that being said, ratio trading, that's something I want to get to. I know you covered it recently on the Spaces. Can you just remind people, because 8, 9, 10, 12 months ago, that was all the rage, ratio trading. Better get ready for the pre-bridge. You better get ready. And then it's like mid-May, and then what is that again? It's 2023. What's going on? So can you just kind of go through what is ratio trading and why it's relevant for PulseChain? Sure.
So the answer is it's exactly what you're doing right now. Ratio trading is just trading. So the slightly long-winded answer to clarify that way people actually understand it, because it makes a lot of sense after that. So everything about it is the exact same. You say, well, but there's no dollar value associated with these things, right? There's no dollar value associated with them now. When you see dollars, that's a user interface. That has nothing to do with it. Ethereum doesn't know what a dollar is, and Uniswap doesn't know what a dollar is. That's it. All they see is a ratio and a pool. There's a pile of apples and a pile of oranges. Whatever the ratio is the price. It's a swap between them. That's it. It doesn't care what they are. It doesn't know if they're dollars. It doesn't know that you think that USDC is a dollar. It doesn't know that you think USDT means a dollar. It's just ratios. So the first part is just to fundamentally understand that the code works the exact same. Doesn't matter at all. Now, where this stuff does make a difference in, one, since these things don't have dollar values yet, there's all the legality, tax implications, move your bag around. So if you're looking at it from outside the code, there's some shuffling that makes sense if you're trying to get your ducks in a row. The other is that, and this is the way I explain it, is you likely have possibly the lowest cost basis on things many people think will go up 1, 2, or 3 orders of magnitude. What are the chances that you start making trades inside of the first 48 hours without dollar value and you improve that position? Very low. So the idea around the ratio trading is that it is this golden opportunity in some ways for a few of these avenues, but for most people, realize that there's only almost an opportunity that you mess things up, and you should always protect principal with your dear life rather than trying to make trades. So what I would ratio trade is stuff that is likely to break. So stables, PUSDC, all these things like that, DAI. If you have things you think are going to break, then I would hammer them because they're going to get hammered by everyone else. Try to get into whatever it is you think is valuable, whatever ticker symbols you think will do well. Most of them are pretty obvious. What I would be conscientious of is because you don't have that dollar value. It's sometimes going to be hard to like view slippage and like what price makes sense. So I'll say it quickly, but again, you can look at the ratio of whatever the asset is to ETH, and then you divide by the supply difference, which is like 1.2 million. So that's how you can kind of get a starting price for what these things should look at. So you can go take the price of HEX, look at the ratio of ETH, like how many HEX are in an ETH, and then divide that by 1.2 million. And usually when I've done this recently, obviously it just jumped up. So now it's probably like 30 or something. But before it was working out to like 18 to 20 pulse per HEX was what that ratio looked like. Now that the price is up, I'm just speculating. It's probably like 30 or 40. So you can take that number and say like, okay, if the prices are here, that's what that ratio looks like. Now, where am I a buyer, right? So again, just putting out numbers. So let's say that the ratio when it comes over is 40 to 1, and that kind of reflects like a 5-cent price, right? If you're assuming that Pulse is the same price as Ethereum. Okay, well, I think it's going to go to $5. That means great. That means I'm a buyer all the way up. Or, hey, I think this thing's going to dip down to half a penny. It's like, okay, well, that's way down. So you can use that ratio as sort of a place to start to get some context and some guidelines. And then from there, what I tell people is you don't trade when it's a good idea. You don't trade when it's a great idea. You trade when you feel like the deck is so loaded, you're so sure everything's pointing in the right direction that you feel like it's almost irresponsible to not make the move. And I say that because that should be the threshold for anyone to make a play. So, for example, if in my head, I think that PulseX is 1 to 3 with Pulse, I think that it takes 3 PulseX to meet 1 Pulse, or they're inverse. Again, whatever everyone's numbers are don't matter to me. Whatever your number is, let's say it's 3 to 1. All right, well then don't trade at 3 to 1, and don't trade at 4 to 1. At 5 to 1, maybe you start paying attention and you start getting to 6 or 7 where you're double that initial ratio. Now maybe I'm a buyer. Like if it just gets to be lopsided where you think the market has really outpriced things and you're happy to have it, assuming that you're wrong in the short term, okay, maybe you make some plays, maybe stuff gets weird. But those are the things I think people should pay attention to. One is the code works exactly the same way. You're just losing a sort of a handicap, right? You're having to trade on hard mode now. And the other is that you should have a very high threshold for what it takes to make any move at all very early on in the process, even once there's a dollar value.
It's pretty solid advice. Yeah, it's good to go through. And I just want to ask too, so what's going to happen? Pulse launch, the pre-bridge, how are people who want to participate, how can they actually do this? If they want to do ratio trading, what's it going to look like? What's it going to feel like?
It'll look the exact same. You'll just literally swap the wallet over, point it toward PulseChain, whatever copies you have or Pulse or PLSX allocations you may or may not end up with. You just trade them just like normal. You just go to PulseX and it'll work like every other DApp. Again, that's the part that it's hard to kind of extract. But this is what everybody should be doing on testnet V3. If any of the things we're talking about now are something you're even interested in doing, you have better be making rep after rep after rep on V3, because you need to have dry palms when you start playing with real money on these things and you haven't touched stuff. So if any of those things are questions, I did an old stream with cryptographics where we went really down the rabbit hole and some of the numbers have moved, but the context is still very sound. But just go play on V3, like go get your reps in, understand how all these things work. Don't be in there fiddling like, oh, what's the RPC? Where's PulseX? Don't be doing that and trying to trade that early. Like I promise you will screw that stuff up. It's almost like riding a motorcycle. When you're riding a motorcycle, you don't ride to not hit things. You have to ride where things don't hit you. And it's that same level of what you have going on here. You can't just not mess up. You have to make sure that nothing else can negatively affect you to even consider those things. So just be hyper safe, be extra diligent, practice on V3, go play with LL and get liquidated, go move some stuff around. When you're doing trades now, if you're DCAing into HEX or whatever your asset is of choice, go look at the ETH ratio and just get used to seeing those ratios rather than using the dollar value. I'll still use the handicap. Don't waste money. but just look at the ratio and start to get an idea of like, okay, like this is what I'm actually doing. And again, you just take away some of that gray area and those layers of extraction that you have to do to really understand what the trade will look like live.
If I can jump in, just saying, great advice, incredible. Maybe in the future you could do like a real world thing that you're saying, like let's look at the screen and let's play around. I don't know if that's possible, because people learn a lot watching, not just.
Of course,
there'll be a ton of tutorials, especially closer to Pulse launch, especially with testnet v3. I just imagine it's going to, all the streamers can be like, value. How can I provide value? Let me go, use PulseX on testnet v3. I'll probably be one of them too. So, did you go through any of that? Did you go through on graphics stream? Did you have any of the actual screen time, or did you just talk about the numbers and slides and stuff?
We just went through some of the deep end. There's a couple of interesting, just like economic sides of it that they don't really matter for new users, but there's a lot of content that I think will, if you jump on that stream and then some of the stuff these other guys will do, it's enough to really get to ask the right questions for yourself. Tintop gets it. Going through that stream again will kind of give you one, if it feels really intimidating, good, don't do those things. And then two, if it doesn't feel that intimidating, if you get most of it, then perfect. It'll give you the things you need to go chew on to get that stuff right.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Walrus. I know you got to hop off. Excellent to meet you and have you on the show. Great conversation, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Mark, man, really appreciate the work on the book. I've been trying to do some extra stuff on blog. Again, I try to fill in that space. So taking the time to write, publish a book, have that stuff listed. People, again, like you said, sometimes people want to complain about, any of the things that anyone in the community is doing. You went and wrote the book. So, man, that's a pleasure. I very much appreciate the work in the space. Daniel, man, hey, thanks for coming up, brother. Like it's always nice to meet another Hexkin, man. Thanks for coming up and hanging out. It's a pleasure to meet you, man. Anything we can ever do
You too.
You need something, holler at me. And RHMax, brother, man, thanks for the invite, man. It's a pleasure to come and hang out, man. It's for everyone to know, he did have to come ask me like 5 times. I told him yes. He finally chased me down. That's on me. So I owe him at least one more for sure. So you let me know anytime you need me. I'll be more than happy to come back through. Thanks so much.
I'm going to save that coupon. I think I'll be taking use of it this year. It'll be good, man.
Absolutely.
Cool. Have a good
Really
evening.
nice meeting you.
Really open mic, guys.
Thanks. Keep up the good job as well.
Thanks, sir. Bye, guys.
I gotta jump out also, but it was really nice meeting you both, and
of course
maybe we'll do it again in the future with a little bit more something planned on my part. But just want to say hello and thank you for all you do for the community.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for coming on, asking good questions, and contributing to the conversation. Appreciate it. And hold down the fort there in Mexico. We need all the Hexicans we can get, especially down south. It's gonna be great. We're gonna grow even further this year. I'm very excited.
Of course. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks,
Daniel. Nice to meet you.
You too. Bye.
And then there was 2. What's up, Mark?
All good.
I was
very dynamic. I like it. Very dynamic. It looks also people in the comments appreciating all the knowledge which was just dropped. So great as always.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm trying to check Twitter because I think somebody might be trying to get a hold of me because they want to come on. Can you talk to chat just for a minute and let me switch computers and I'll be right back. Is that okay?
Sure. No worries. Yeah, let me see if there are any questions. If not, yeah, guys, if you have any questions about, well, not only about the book, but anything I could potentially answer, just drop them in there. So while we are waiting for Max to come back, I personally was just blown away by all the knowledge which we had shared. I'm looking forward actually to like all of us, waiting forward to the PulseChain launch, but also to all the interesting tools which will be available. There was, I think there was a lot of talk as well. Well, not a lot, but there were some comments made about the ratio trading, right? When PulseChain launches. So I'd say, well, my personal thing here is like, and obviously that's not the financial advice. You have to do your own thing. It all depends on, what you have and what you're going to have at the moment of a launch. Have you sacrificed for PulseChain? Have you sacrificed for PulseX? How much? Like personally, I'm just staying put. I sacrifice for both projects. I also have HEX, and my personal approach here is for at least the first few weeks or even first few months, no matter what happens, I'm just watching how the whole thing will unfold, because I don't believe I can guess, right? It's just like whatever happens there. I don't think, if suddenly PulseChain launches PulseChain price is pumping and PulseX is not, or the other way around, I will just wait it through, because I can't guess what's going to happen, and I won't pretend that I will know anything better than anyone else, right? The questions are coming a little bit delayed, Max, here, so you want to take it over? And if there's a question to me specifically, I can address that.
There's one I just wanted to ask on JBrush on this one. I'm not sure. Can you clarify the question? Best site for staking ladders? Are you talking about like showing you how to do staking ladders, or showing you other people's staking ladders? Can you clarify on that? And then we'll circle back to it. And then Tin Top, let everyone know about your Hexagon travel agency in Thailand. Yeah, is that a thing, Mark?
Yes, it is. Yeah, a few months ago I set up a travel agency following my 10 plus years in the travel business, and since this was possible because of my early involvement in HEX, I named it HEX Travel. So if you go to hex-travel.com, you can see what it's all about. It's a very small company. I don't focus on huge volume. I address a very specific, namely Uber luxury markets. I just want to do things which I think are cool with the people who want to do them and who can participate in them. So this is, I wouldn't even call it a side business. This is more a hobby, capitalizing on all the experience I have. So, supercars, road trips, private helicopters, the best resorts you can find, mostly in Southeast Asia, not only in Thailand, but also in other places around the world. That's basically the idea here. And right now, maybe some of these ideas can sound a little bit untimely, given that we are still in the bear market. But trust me, especially for crypto people out there, once we hit the next top of the bull market, these kind of experiences will be widely available to many people, and there is a huge interest in that. Once you really made it in crypto or beyond, it doesn't really matter. Then you start looking for, okay, what else I can do apart from just traditional holidays in another country? What are the coolest experiences you can potentially do, from chartering a yacht to going for a private safari in Africa on ATVs or whatever else, right? So this is the kind of stuff I want to get involved with. I was always involved with that, but pretty much as an employee. Now I just want to organize this kind of things for people who are interested in doing this kind of thing. So once again, I'm not doing 500 Chinese buses tours in 3-star hotels because, well, maybe you can make some money on it, but that's not fun. Right? This is just a lot of work for nothing. Just sitting in front of a computer and trying to organize stuff. That's not something I want to be involved in. So that's in short what HEX Travel is about.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I think. So you do accept HEX for payment on them, or did you start doing it with that?
Yes, I definitely would. So like I didn't have anyone else paying in HEX, so that's okay. I had a few clients which were just standard transfers. Very likely, right? So but obviously, HEX and crypto in general, it wouldn't be correct for me to say like, oh, what, I don't take any crypto if someone wants to buy it, because it doesn't make any sense, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I just want to answer this question. So I think JBrush meant, what did he say? Basically said, I think he's looking for websites. And this is a tweet, I'll drop it in the chat too, that I was trying to aggregate a lot of the best HEX sites to see stats and you can see people's ladders. You can see, I think, which one is it? Is it stakehex.today? You can see the projection. Yeah, I think you can see the projection. You type in a wallet address that has stakes, and you can see their different years of the stake and what's going on with it. So I think that's what you're looking for. If not, further clarify, but I think that should work for you. And then Daniel asked a couple good recommendations on books, and I said tech or crypto, and he said both. So good question. I don't think I ever read. Did I ever read any crypto books? I think most of my content just comes from YouTube and Googling and doing research. A lot of my tech experience, like I work in big tech. So that's, when I started that stuff when I was a teenager and turned it into a career. So a lot of that was self-taught too, and some college, of course. But I'm trying to think books on, do you know good books other than your book, Mark? Do you know good books on tech and crypto, what you've used to understand things better in the ecosystem?
Well, I'd say I'd take a look at the Phenom Investor book about HEX, and it also mentions PulseChain is mentioned there as well, and PulseX, I believe, from what I remember. And in general, yes, it talks about our ecosystem, but it also talks about crypto mindset and how he get there, and it also describes a little bit of his personal experience, how he all had it figured out, with a lot of explanations about crypto and why it's so important for especially our generations. So don't treat it as solely as like, oh, that's all about HEX. Well, this is the main part, but I'm very wary of recommending books which are just general about crypto or about Bitcoin or whatever else, because I actually think I read a few of them in the past, which I can't remember the titles from the top of my head, but I'm just worried that there might be a lot of information there, which is pretty much what we stand against here, right? So that there might be information about things like BlockFi or FTX in the past or something like that, and just you can make money by leverage trading and all this kind of things. So I wouldn't be able to really recommend you something which I think is just 100% spot on without detailedly reviewing it. So I'd be very careful of that.
There's a lot of marketing books, a lot of very biased content out there that, maybe wants to get to centralized exchanges. I will say that I believe I did read a few years ago Mastering Ethereum and maybe Mastering Bitcoin as well. And it looks like it's been updated. It looks like Andreas and Gavin would have been pushing out new revisions. So as far as understanding the technicals of how this stuff works, again, these days I usually use just YouTube, and I just find videos of people going doing technical deep dives and fill in the blanks from that. But if you're looking for a book, I do a lot of audiobooks these days, but I don't listen to, it's hard to listen to technical stuff on audio because, you need to see charts and graphs and think about it. But Mastering Ethereum, I would say if you wanted to understand how Ethereum works, that could be a book. I'm pretty sure I read some of the earlier revisions of it, and it helped me put some pieces together. Because once you get a framework of how blockchain works and how dApps work and all that, you can understand a lot of other related technology. And working in the tech industry, a lot of this was just like different servers, different types of applications for me, and I just need to make that crossover between understanding how they work together instead of just the monolithic traditional apps, and websites that are built on the modern internet today. But we'll see Web 3.0, that's changing things. Just going through the chat. I have one question. Player One Taco. Nice. One question I have with radius trading is there's still sandwich attacks or front running to worry about? Sandwich attacks or front running on ratio trading? So I think I'm trying to reason about this I don't have a good answer at the top of my head, but I'm trying to think, would I worry about that more than making a bad trade? I just don't think that would be on the top of my list of things to worry about because, I don't know. I don't have a good answer to that. I would be concerned over it, and I know I'm security. I know a lot of security stuff, and that's kind of it's part of what I do, and I try to educate people on those. As far as ratio trading and worried about sandwich attacks or front running, I don't know. I think I would have to study and figure out some of the best ways and attacks and defenses and how it would matter and what situation it would matter. Does it matter on all the bridges, or does it matter on all the pre-bridge stuff? I don't know. I'd have to study more about that one to have a better answer. But anything on that, Mark?
Not really, as I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to ratio trade. So I don't really want to put people in position that I give my opinion here without actually executing it later, right? So out of my scope here, I'd say.
Yeah. I haven't studied those in this particular context either. So I hesitate to just go off the top of my head because I don't have anything real good for you, but maybe interesting to look. I wouldn't be worried about it at the moment. I'll say that. I think but I have to study more myself on that. Susan, she get consolation prize. Well, she has an opportunity to win the next book. So let's get into that. Number 3 trivia, last trivia of the night before we say our goodbyes. Is everyone in chat ready? It's the last chance to win second Crypto Revolution book. It's so secret. This has to be blurred.
Trying to make it properly with camera. Sorry, guys. I don't know.
Hex
worked
swag.
Before, doesn't anymore. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, okay. Yeah. Hex swag given out. Again, the rules for trivia. I'll read the question, and then you put the answer in the chat, and the first correct answer I see, whether it be Susan or otherwise, will win the prize. And you just DM Mark on Twitter, and I'll post his Twitter handle again to make sure you have that. So let's get started. Number 3 and the last trivia question to win the new HEX second Crypto Revolution book. Name the 2 types of clients that are required to run a PulseChain validator. So the 2 types of clients, not the names of the clients, but there's 2 particular kinds of clients that you need for ETH 2.0 and you need for PulseChain. Name those particular types of clients, not the names, the types of clients. And I will wait for them in the chat. While I drink this nice cup of Hex Haters Tears. Ooh, they're tasting good these days. While we're waiting, I'll throw up a Hex chart. Why not? Everyone's Googling, I imagine, right now. Let's see where we're at. Ooh, all right, still hovering a little over 5 cents. 16% on the daily, looks like. It's at the daily. Yep. And look at that weekly chart. Ooh, look at that. Look at that monthly chart. Look at that. Those taters. I said taters. Those tears tasting good. Are those tears decaf? Yes, they are. They are a type of tea that is homemade, and they're decaf. That's true. That's true. We have oh, here we go. We got some stuff coming in. Wow, you guys are close. So not the name of the clients, but so one of these answers is correct. I won't say which one. So not the name of the clients, but what the type of the client is, what they do, if that helps. So there's 2 answers. If you put them together, they would win. I'll just say that. That's the only hint I'm giving. Lunacy Point is very close. I actually, you know what? I think she won because I think you just spelled consensus wrong. Yeah. When I first saw that, I thought of the company consensus, but no, I think you're right. I think you won. Congrats, Lunacy Point. You won. I just could not think of you were misspelling consensus, but yeah, there you go. Congrats, Lunacy Point. Nice. You redeemed yourself. You were number 2 on the first question, I believe, and now you took over and got it back. And awesome. Settlement execution, like a couple good answers. White House and Beacon, again, these are names of the clients, but good job, Lunacy Point. So I'll put Mark's Twitter in the chat again and reach out to him. I know, Daniel, you were in the ballpark. Reach out to him. Let me write down your name again, just so I'll have it just in case. Lunacy Point. Reach out to Mark on Twitter, and he will get you a copy of the second Crypto Revolution, ebook or print format. Awesome. And I think we got a question here before we wrap up. Player One Talk. I was trying to look through the docs to see if I could find stuff on meme pools and if they were take a batch crowd swap. I don't know. I don't know what meme pools are. I'm curious though. What are meme pools? Okay. Is that the meme pool you're talking about? Or, oh, meme pool. That's what you're saying. Meme pools. Okay, meme pools. Yeah, I know what those are. So the question was trying to look at the docs if I can find stuff on meme pools. Oh, I see. Yeah, so meme pools are where transactions are queued, and that's where the sandwich attack type front running stuff you're talking about. Okay. Account swap. I don't know. So PulseX is a fork of Pancake, right? I think it's a fork of Pancake Swap. Everyone says Uniswap, but I think Pancake Swap is a fork of Uniswap and all that stuff. So I don't know. Interesting question, though. Interesting question. I'm not sure. All right, everyone. I think we're going to call it a night. This has been a great open mic. Great time with Walrus. We had Daniel in, Hexkin from Mexico. Great to meet him. And of course, the Mark Wilde, author of The Second Crypto Revolution. He gave away 3 books today, or is working on it with the winners. And yeah, make sure everyone go to that website. If you're interested in the book and you didn't win today, you can still pick it up. It's free ebook. Is that what I saw? Or is it cost like $5? Let's see.
Yeah, well, on Amazon, if you go direct on Amazon, it's not free, but I'm always happy to accommodate some free copies.
So, I'm looking at $0 on Kindle here.
You need to have a membership, right? If you have a membership for Kindle Unlimited, I think then it's free. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then how much was the ebook again?
I think it's $9.99 if I remember correctly.
$9.99.
If you want to download the copy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. I'll drop this link in the chat if anyone's interested in new book. And please, if you get the book or if you read it otherwise, try to leave a review. Let's get these 5-star reviews up so other people become interested and they're able to benefit from not getting wrecked. Will you be at East Denver too? I want to go. I don't know when that is. Let me see. Look up East Denver. Totally forgot about it. I know Walrus mentioned it. February 24th. Ooh, yeah, I can't make that. I cannot make February 24th. That's a big range. Jeez, is that like a 2-week conference? Build a week. The core event's March 2nd. Okay. Kind of hard timing for me. Otherwise, I would love to go. But I did get my ticket for Miami Hexpo. What about you, Mark? You coming to Miami? We're going to get to meet.
I'm thinking about it. It's a 24-hour journey from here, from Bangkok. So it's quite wrecking, I'd say, and it's a 2 days event, right? So it's I have to plan at least a week out of Thailand to get there, recover, have fun with you guys, and come back. So it's possible I'll get there. I probably need about a month to sort some things out, and if everything works the way I want it to work, then I might be able to come in May.
That'd be great, man. That'd be great. Yeah, I plan on being there unless something changes, and at the Bitcoin conference as well. I know that one's 6 times as much as the HEX conference passed, but I don't know. I've never been to a Bitcoin conference. I'd like to go, wear my HEX swag, talk to people who are interested or be tackled, whatever they feel like they want to do to the people who want to get rich in crypto and have the technology if they want both, but should be fun. Mark, again, pleasure having you, man. Thanks for coming on. I told you last time it would be the last time that we talked, and I was proven correct. I know you had something good to come on and talk about. You finally got the book launched. You've had it launched for a little while, but I remember talking to you beforehand, and I know you're really excited about that and to share with the community. So yeah, thanks again for all you do. And again, you're an example of people having utility in the community. They're not just saying, leaving bad comments or fudding or refund or scam or all this stuff. You're someone in the community who literally wrote a book and published it about a product so great that you want to promote, that you want to get the message out in print, in written form, and of course all the digital formats as well. So we commend you for that. Really, really glad to have you in the community.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate your kind words, and it's a pleasure to be on your stream one more time.
Of course, man. All right, everyone. I'm taking tomorrow off because I'm freaking tired and I need a break. And I'll be taking the latter part of the month off too after next week. But I'll be back Friday with Crispy Man. Yeah, Crispy Man and I are going to talk HEX because he's the author of hexfire.io. Amazing website. If you saw the list of websites earlier, check it out if you haven't yet. Hexfire.io, all the stats you need. And with that, Scivive and 5555, everyone.